right, what a day, what a week it has been, what a few weeks it has been. It's been a little bit relentless over the last 2.5, 3 weeks, that is for sure. And now we're in the middle of another major winter weather event here on Weather for Weather Geeks. We're going to break everything down and get you set for the upcoming weekend, which thankfully will be quite a bit quieter. Let's start out this evening with a live look outside. Now live as of 7:12 p.m. when I'm recording this. Snow-covered Route 422 across from Eastwood Mall in the Niles area. And it's been snowing in Niles for a while now. The snow has struggled to make some southward progress for a lot of the day, but that's happening as I record this, and it's now snowing in and around Youngstown, including at the interchange here, South Avenue, off of Route 680. This is an ODOT camera near Austintown, northwestern Mahoning County, 76 and 80. You can see the surface. That looks like no fun to drive on, and thankfully traffic is very, very light, but the snow has really picked up. When we saw that transition from sleet over to snow, it went from sleet to heavy snow in a lot of places over the last hour and a half to 2 hours. And you can see the snow intensity looking at the lamp post here, the light post. Yeah, it is snowing hard here at 7-Eleven and 680, and thankfully it doesn't look like there are hardly any cars out there right now. If you do not have to travel tonight, just don't do it. Now, I understand some people don't have a choice. They got to get to work. They don't have much of a choice in the matter. But if you do have to venture out, just plan on it being very tough and very, very slow. We have a few kind of wonky readings in here. We're going to ignore those. But some of the legitimate road temperatures here, this looks a little warm to me down in southern Columbiana County. But I do believe some of these readings down in the 20s here in the 7 o'clock hour. So the road surface has cooled. The air temperatures are down in the 20s as well. And yeah, it's been a real mess today with freezing rain in some places. Now, this has been most prominent south of Route 224, down into Columbiana County, and also parts of Lawrence County as well. And this is a report as of 3:19 p.m., up to 1/4 of an inch of ice accretion around the Newcastle area. And this report's 4 hours old, so no doubt there's been some additional buildup of ice on objects across that part of Lawrence County. And I drove to work early this afternoon from southeastern Columbiana County right up Route 11. I had freezing rain the whole time, and by the time I got to Youngstown, there was a thick buildup of ice on my windshield wipers. If I had any longer of a trip, I would have had to have gotten out and scraped some of the ice off those wipers, because they were becoming a little bit useless by the time I got to Youngstown. All right, current radar as of 7:14. Now, you may be tricked a little bit to thinking this is all snow in here, right? And all the mixed precipitation in this pink is pushing off to the south and east. But this radar, depiction of things, and it's going to be similar on a lot of your apps that you're looking at. It's the radar's best guess of the precipitation type. But in a lot of circumstances, this can be off. And trained meteorologists know how to read a different kind of radar product. We call this correlation coefficient. And what we're looking at here is the radar beam hitting objects as it goes out from the radar source. And when it's hitting a bunch of objects that are different sized, it returns kind of this yellow color. When it's hitting objects that are all roughly the same size, whether they be snowflakes or raindrops, then it returns kind of this smooth kind of red color. So, what we can deduce from this, as of 7:15, here's our sleet zone right here in the yellow. From Hanoverton to Lisbon to Columbiana to Struthers and Louisville, and heading up into southeastern Mercer. North of that zone, it's now snowing. South of that zone, we're seeing freezing rain still, down towards West Point, East Liverpool, Wellsville, places like that. But even in those areas, of course, the transition is going to occur as we go through the next several hours. No surprise that the zone that has seen the most ice today also has the most power outages. Now, we're doing okay in Columbiana County right now, it looks like, but just south of there, down into Jefferson County, Ohio, down into areas closer to Interstate 70 as well. Quite a few power outages from east of Cincinnati through southeast Ohio, and again, getting up to about Jefferson County, where Steubenville is, as of about 7:15. Fingers crossed, we're doing okay right now in Columbiana County. Why all the freezing rain and sleet today? It has to do, of course, with the temperature profile of the atmosphere. The Arctic air started to come in last night, but it kind of hit a roadblock a little bit. This front only got so far to the east, so in our area, the cold air, the sub-32 degree air, has been very, very shallow, just hugging the last 1,000 feet of the atmosphere above our heads. Once you get up a few thousand feet, then the air is still not as cold, and snowflakes melt in that relatively warm layer and then those raindrops might survive all the way to the ground, and that's freezing rain. If the cold air gets a little bit deeper, then those raindrops have a chance to refreeze before they hit the ground. They refreeze into sleet pellets, not snowflakes. And so that's kind of the difference between sleet and freezing rain. Sleet's preferable to freezing rain when it comes to road conditions and accretion on power lines and tree limbs. But you get a lot of sleet, like we've seen in some parts of the area today. It can accumulate and just make things really, really ugly out there. And this is a model depiction of the temperatures 5,000 feet above our heads. As of about 7:15, you can see that at that level, that critical level, the air is finally cooled below freezing, where, no surprise, we now have snow falling. But in Pittsburgh, it's still almost 40 degrees, 5,000 feet above people's heads. So that's why south and east of Youngstown, we're still seeing some issues with freezing rain and sleet. Now, from north to south, this is going to change as we go through the overnight, and the air will finally cool throughout the entire atmospheric column. So by the middle of the night, yeah, we're just seeing snow. And, you know, the end point of this snow looks a little slower. In fact, several hours slower than it did yesterday. So I think we're still going to be dealing with this, not just first thing in the morning Friday, but probably through about midday on Friday, even early afternoon. Now, the intensity of the snow will not be it's not going to be as hard tomorrow morning as it will be at times overnight. But still, this can still be impactful, and every flake of this can stick with temperatures down in the upper teens Friday morning. In addition to that, in areas that have seen a lot of sleet and freezing rain today, all that standing water and puddles and meltwater, all that's going to freeze solid. And yeah, it's just going to be no fun again to be outside for a good chunk of the day Friday. Finally, the last of the snowflakes depart in the afternoon. But another day where if you don't have to travel, just another day to kind of hunker down. Things will get better over the weekend. All right, this is a storm total map, and some of this has already occurred. As of about 6:15, we already had about 5 inches up in the Cortland area, and I think there'll be some double-digit amounts in this zone. Cortland over to Howland, Southington, up towards Mesopotamia, Bloomfield, Johnston, Kinsman, Greenville, places like that. I think there'll be some double-digit amounts before tomorrow is through. The amount of sleet today, you know, if you watched Weather Geeks in the previous few days, I opined that sleet, I don't trust it, and some of the higher totals that the models were spitting out, I had a hard time believing them. And even though we did bring some of the higher totals southward, the amount of sleet today, we had to kind of retreat a little bit and take kind of Youngstown and the 224 corridor back out of the 6 to 9 area, and it's more like 3 to 6. Now, we're splitting hairs here. This is still snow on top of ice. It's still a problem. It's still going to be treacherous, no matter the amount of snow. But, you know, we're aiming to have an accurate snow forecast here, and so this is kind of the final call map. Storm total, 6 to 9, basically, from Oberlin Center to Austintown to Niles, a good chunk of Trumbull and Mercer, except the southeastern part of Mercer. 6 to 9 in that zone, 3 to 6 elsewhere in Mahoning County and Columbiana County, Lawrence County, and I think you'd be hard-pressed to see more than 3 once you're far enough to the south towards Wellsville and East Liverpool and maybe even Salineville and Highlandtown as well. Don't get too hung up on this. As meteorologists, we of course want to get every inch correct, but you know, the practical implications of this is, yeah, it's going to stink to be outside tonight through midday tomorrow. All right, as we head towards the weekend, finally things are going to quiet down. Clouds will break for some sun Saturday, and then we'll see some sunshine working in on Sunday. And next week looks pretty uneventful. Maybe a couple of flurries on Monday. No big deal, and no major winter storms next week, along with seasonable temperatures. All right, I might do a Facebook Live before the evening is through. I'm going to poke my head outside here in downtown Youngstown and see what's doing, and maybe take some pictures of how things are looking outside our downtown studios. And otherwise, hope you and yours are safe on this Thursday evening. Thanks for watching tonight. And we're on late tonight because of the opening ceremonies of the Olympics here on 21 WFMJ. Be on around midnight if you're up late. If not, you can get the forecast anytime on the Storm Tracker 21 app, and be sure you're following all my social media outlets as well.